The zebra could shake the bird away. It could run, kick, or turn its powerful jaws toward the small shape on its back. Instead, it stands still. The oxpecker steps across the striped coat, lowers its head, and begins to search. Something about the zebra has drawn the bird here. Perhaps it is food. Perhaps it is shelter. Perhaps, for a few quiet moments, the zebra's body is simply the safest place to rest. From a distance, the scene looks like perfect cooperation. A small bird cleans an animal many times its size, and both leave with something they need. But the closer this relationship is examined, the less simple it becomes. An oxpecker does not see a zebra as a single animal. It encounters a landscape. There is the broad back, exposed to sun and dust. There are the shoulders, rising and falling with every step. There is the short mane along the neck and the sensitive skin around the head and ears. Some areas can be reached by teeth. Others can be scratched by a hoof or disturbed by a violent shake of muscle and skin. But no animal can inspect every part of its own body. That creates an opportunity. Oxpeckers are closely associated with Africa's large mammals. They land on them, cling to them, travel with them, and search their bodies for food. For the birds, these moving animals provide access to resources that cannot be found in the grass or trees in the same way. The association is so important that researchers describe the birds as highly dependent on mammalian host. The zebra continues grazing. Its lips pull at the grass while the oxpecker adjusts its balance above. The bird's feet hold the coat. Its tail shifts. Its body tilts with every movement of the animal beneath it. Yet the bird does not always feed. In a recent field study from northeastern Namibia, red-billed oxpeckers observed on plain zebras spent much of their recorded time perching or remaining inactive. Active foraging was less common than it was on some other host. The birds also showed a strong tendency to use the zebra's back. That detail changes the story. The oxpecker may search the zebra's body for food, but the zebra is also a platform. It is elevated above the grass. It moves with the herd. And for a small bird surrounded by open country, even a temporary perch may have value. The zebra, however, is not simply a passive surface. In the same study, zebras tolerated red-billed oxpeckers during most recorded interactions, but not all of them. Some encounters ended in rejection. Across 39 recorded response events, tolerance was observed more often than rejection, yet the zebra still sometimes responded by interrupting the bird's access. A flick of the tail, a shake of the head, a sudden movement forward. The message does not need to be permanent. The bird may be accepted in one moment and driven away in the next. This makes the relationship less like a fixed agreement and more like a changing boundary. When the contact is tolerable, the oxpecker remains. When it becomes irritating, the zebra can object. The balance is decided again and again, one landing at a time. For generations, oxpeckers were commonly presented as helpful tick-removing birds. The idea appears logical. The bird gains food, while the mammal loses parasites. A broad comparison across African ungulates found that both red-billed and yellow-billed oxpeckers tended to favor host species carrying more ticks. The birds also favored larger-bodied animals, which may offer more feeding space and a steadier surface. Those patterns support the idea that tick feeding can form part of a mutually beneficial relationship. But a pattern across many species does not prove that every visit benefits every individual host. Even the word cleaning can hide several different behaviors. An oxpecker may remove a tick. It may inspect the skin without finding food. It may rest. It may search around an ear or another sensitive region. Under some conditions and on some hosts, oxpeckers have also consumed bodily material or fed around wounds. The consequences can therefore change with the place, the animal, and the behavior being observed. One controlled field experiment on cattle found that excluding red-billed oxpeckers did not change the number of adult ticks on those animals. The same research found that the birds removed earwax and prolonged the healing of wounds. These results came from cattle, not zebras, so they cannot be transferred automatically from one host species to another. But they demonstrate why the oxpecker cannot always be described as a harmless cleaner. Other research has produced a different emphasis. Observations in South Africa's Kruger National Park found tick feeding to be common, while wound feeding represented only a small fraction of the recorded behavior. Plain zebras were used as hosts in part of the study area, although host use varied between locations. The researchers concluded that oxpecker behavior and host choice can shift with local conditions, available animals, and feeding opportunities. The contradiction is important. One study may find little evidence that birds reduce tick loads on cattle. Another may show that oxpeckers favor species with heavier tick burdens. A field observer may record a bird feeding. Another may record it resting. None of these observations alone explains every oxpecker on every zebra. Nature does not always provide one permanent answer. Back on the zebra, the bird takes several steps forward. The stripes pass beneath its feet, but the pattern means nothing to the oxpecker. What matters is the surface itself, where it can grip, where it can remain, and where a possible meal may be hidden. For the zebra, the calculation is different. The bird is small, but it is not invisible. Every step presses against the coat. Every peck creates contact. The zebra can tolerate that contact, or it can end it. This may explain why the most revealing moment is not when the oxpecker lands. It is the moment when the zebra decides what to do next. If the zebra remains calm, the bird gains time. If it shakes, turns, or moves away, the visit is shortened. The oxpecker's access depends not only on hunger, but also on the response of the animal carrying it. The relationship, therefore, contains several possibilities at once. The oxpecker may consume parasites. It may use the zebra as a resting platform. It may investigate areas difficult for the host to monitor. And under different circumstances, its feeding may become irritating rather than helpful. The bird does not need to be a hero. It does not need to be a villain. It needs to survive. And the zebra does not need to understand the bird's purpose. It only needs to tolerate the contact for as long as the cost remains acceptable. Eventually, the oxpecker lifts away. For a moment, the striped back is empty again. The zebra continues through the grass, carrying no visible sign of the exchange that has just taken place. Perhaps a parasite was removed. Perhaps the bird found nothing. Perhaps the greatest benefit belonged only to the oxpecker, a safe perch above the savanna and another chance to search. The truth may change from one encounter to the next. Because in the wild, partnership does not always mean equality. Sometimes two animals remain connected, Not because every exchange is fair, but because the balance is useful, often enough to continue.